Welcome to Colorado. When traveling through our state, truckers are likely to face many unique challenges. To keep you and the traveling public safe, we want to make sure that you're prepared for whatever you may encounter.
Hi there, I'm Nate. I'm a Colorado truck driver who's been traveling in and out of the state for over 28 years. Colorado can be one of the most unique and challenging places to drive a truck. While you're here, you might experience
high winds and reduced visibility, low bridge clearances and load-restricted structures, heavy urban traffic areas and construction zones, natural hazards like rockfalls, mudslides, avalanches, and wildfires, wildlife crossing roadways, steep grades and mountain passes, and sudden weather changes. It doesn't matter what kind of vehicle you drive. Crossing the Rockies through the I-70 mountain corridor can be extremely difficult.
In this video, we will highlight some of the challenges of driving this section of Colorado and provide information on best practices so you feel more confident about your trip. Now, there's a lot of information to cover, but just remember, slow, steady, and safe for the long haul. Let's hit the road.
For any journey you make, you should always have a trip plan. For your travel along I-70, make sure you have a plan B as well. Your original plan may not work out due to weather delays, full or closed rest stops, or other impacts. Know ahead of time your options for where you will check your brakes, chain up if there's winter weather, and rest when you need to. And before you hit the mountain corridor, make sure you have a full tank of fuel. That means filling up near Denver before heading west, or between Grand Junction and Rifle before heading east. It is vital to have a full tank of fuel in case heavy snow hits and you need to wait it out. Thanks to the unique weather patterns created by the Rocky Mountains, an important part of your trip plan is being prepared for any type of weather regardless of the season. The weather you experience through the mountain corridor can be very different from what you might experience in other parts of Colorado. Even just from one side of the Eisenhower-Johnson tunnels to the other, a distance of less than 2 miles, the weather may change from sunny to rainy, no snow to whiteout conditions, or dry to slick roads. While some weather is predictable and you can plan for it, in the mountains, unexpected gusts of wind can hit out of the blue. Know what you're hauling and the impacts that wind can have on your truck. If a high wind advisory is called where you're driving, it's a good idea to stop and wait it out. If a high wind restriction is called, you must stop or you will be ticketed. For any inclement weather you experience, the safest thing you can do is to always follow the posted speed limits, stay in the right lane, and be ready to slow down when necessary. Because of sudden weather changes along I-70, Colorado requires commercial vehicles to always carry chains from September 1st to May 31st when traveling between Highway C-470 and DOT 0. When Colorado implements the chain law, flashing lights and signage will alert you. You need to stop and chain up at the first available area. There are multiple chain up areas along I-70. Use them. Do not just pull over on the side of the road. The first chain station you come by may be full, so be sure to have backup options as well. If you don't have chains, do not proceed past DOT 0 when heading east or Morrison when heading west. Be sure to safely park before reaching these locations to wait until weather improves and it is safe to keep going. While extreme weather might not happen, steep grades are one feature every driver will have to deal with. Between Morrison and DOT 0, you will experience numerous steep grades, some as long as 10 miles at a 6 to 8% grade. To reduce the chance of I-70's steep downhill grades causing issues, make sure you're going slow before you descend. Be in a low gear and understand the kind of brakes that you have. Whether going uphill or downhill, truckers must stay in the right lane and only go as fast as the posted speed limit. A good rule of thumb is to go downhill in the same gear you went up in. Stay patient and don't try a risky pass. This can not only slow traffic, but potentially cause a crash. Signs will alert you to steep grades and point to the fact that they're often longer than you expect. In addition to signs, drivers can use new in-truck technology that uses each truck's GPS location to alert drivers to upcoming steep grades. Steep grades and speed are the most common causes of hot and failed brakes, so make sure you always check your equipment and brakes before you start your drive. Along I-70, there are many designated brake check areas. Trucks are allowed to use any chain-up area or rest stop as a brake check area as well. Know your brake failure indicators. If you're not feeling your brakes engage, or to the full effect you are used to, you are likely experiencing brake failure. Along with knowing how your brakes feel, look for visual clues as well. If you see smoke, your brakes could be on fire, and you need to be prepared to stop immediately, or you will be forced to use a runaway truck ramp. If your brakes do fail, runaway truck ramps are the best option to protect yourself, your truck, and everyone else on the road. Runaway ramps are engineered to slow down and stop the truck while keeping the driver safe. These ramps are designed to stop a truck entering the ramp with excessive speeds. To properly use a runaway ramp, make sure you're in the right lane, your flashers are on, and aim for the center of the ramp. There is no penalty for using a runaway truck ramp. If you need it, use it. The other outcomes can be devastating. When you're traveling west and pass through the Eisenhower-Johnson tunnels, there are 2 runaway ramps before you reach Silverthorne. If you miss those ramps and your brakes have failed, do not use exit 205 to leave I-70. Instead, stay on the highway and use the uphill grade just west of Silverthorne to slow down. When you're headed east towards Denver, the Georgetown Brake Check Station is a great place to stop and let your brakes cool. Many drivers reach Georgetown and think they've hit the end of the steep downhill grades. Don't be fooled. Heading down from Georgetown, you're in for miles of additional downhill travel. As you get closer to Denver, the runaway ramp just east of exit 256 is your last option if your brakes fail. After this point, you will be in a major metropolitan area with no other options. If you plan accordingly, follow the best practices we've discussed, and are aware of your brake conditions, you're likely to have a safe trip and avoid needing a runaway ramp. Along I-70, natural hazards are common and can occur throughout the year. Drivers always need to be on the lookout and at the ready for rock slides, mudslides, avalanches, and wildfires. When driving at night, do not outdrive your headlights. They are the only way you will see a hazard ahead. Trip planning will help you know ahead of time about existing hazards or planned rockfall work. But for on-the-road updates, pay attention to electronic signs, call 511, or visit cotrip.org when you're stopped. Wildlife is common along I-70 and in other mountain areas. While animals can pop up anywhere, there are certain areas that have a high number of animal-vehicle collisions. Look for signage about animal crossing areas and always be prepared. Watch out for the sides of the road and any brake lights ahead of you. It may feel unnatural, but if wildlife runs in front of your truck, do not swerve or change lanes. Do not hit your brakes. This can cause a crash behind you. The safest thing for you to do is to continue moving forward. While most truck drivers traveling through the mountains use I-70, depending on seasonal highway closures and the materials you're hauling, you may have to travel over some of Colorado's other mountain passes. For instance, if you're traveling with hazardous material, you cannot go through the Eisenhower-Johnson tunnels. You must use US 6 Loveland Pass. Expect sharp curves and steep grades, and watch for tourists getting in and out of their cars for pictures and access to trails. When planning your trip, do not rely on navigation apps for your route. Many of Colorado's mountain passes have specific restrictions that navigation apps don't take into consideration. Now, we've covered a lot of topics in this video. The challenges you could experience on I-70 can seem intimidating, but know that there are many tools and resources available to you. cotrip.org should be your go-to resource for all Colorado travel information. For trucker-specific information, click the Trucker tab for information on permits, chain and brake check stations, and more. You can also call 511 from anywhere in Colorado for information on road closures and weather conditions. For information about Colorado ports of entry, including locations, electronic clearance systems, and more, visit their website. If you need to acquire a DOT number, contact the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration. If you experience any emergencies on the highway, call 911. The Colorado Department of Transportation would like to thank the Colorado Motor Carriers Association and the Colorado State Patrol for being partners in this effort to keep all truck drivers and motorists safe. This I-70 overview video is the first in a series from the Mountain Rules campaign. The Mountain Rules will continue to deliver educational videos to keep truckers and the traveling public safe on all Colorado roads.
Thank you for watching and taking the time to learn how to prepare for Colorado's unique challenges. We hope that you enjoy your travel through our state. And remember, slow, steady, safe for the long haul. I'll see you on the road.